So good morning everyone. Today our group will be explaining the topic functions in Python. So at first the question is what are functions? So a function is a block of code that performs a specific task. Instead of writing the same code again and again, we can use functions to make our program short, reusable and very easy to understand. So why are we using functions? We are using functions because they reduce the repetition of code again and again throughout a same program, and they also make the program more organized. They help in debugging, meaning that finding and fixing errors becomes easier. They improve the readability also. So what are the types of function? There are majorly two types of function in Python: built-in function and user-defined functions. Built-in functions are the functions that are already available in Python. Some common examples are print, len, input, etc. And the other one is user-defined function that is created by the user using the keyword def. So what are the advantages? The advantages of using function are that it saves time and effort. It makes the code reusable. It is easier to test and maintain and helps in modular programming, meaning that a single program can be separated into parts. That is syntax of a function. So it starts with def. Now def is the keyword of a function, and after that comes the function header or the function name. And inside the parenthesis comes the parameters, or we can call them the input that are being provided to the function. And after writing this line comes the main code of the function. And at last we return the value so that the final outcome is returned. Here is a very basic example of a function. I've done addition. So I've started it with def, and after that I've given it a name add. We can give it any name. And inside the parentheses I've given the parameters a and b. So here result contains the sum of both the numbers a plus b. And at last I've returned the value, return result. So while printing it, I'm calling the function at the same time so that a would get the value of 5 and b would be getting the value of 3. So result as now containing a plus b would become 5 plus 3, that is 8. So the output would become 8. That was it. Thank you. Now Ishan will continue from here on.
Okay. Now, wait for a minute. Yes. Welcome to the differentiation segment. In this segment, I will discuss some of the most important differences that we all should know. So, the first difference is between module and function. So, let us first understand what is function. A function is a block of code that performs a specific task. And what is module? Module is nothing but a group of functions. Now, the second difference is we can create a function using the def keyword. But in order to create a module, we have to create a separate .py file. We can call the function using the name of the function, and then we have to use the open and close parentheses. But in order to call or use the module, we have to use the keyword import, and then we have to write the name of that module. After that, we can use the module very easily. Now, the last difference is the function exists within a module or a program, but the module exists as a separate file in the system. Now, the second difference is between user-defined function and built-in function. So, what is user-defined function? The functions that were created by the programmer or the users are known as user-defined function. And what is built-in function? So, the functions that were already provided by the Python or any other language is known as built-in function. Now, user-defined functions are available only after being defined in the program. What this means? This simply means that you cannot use user-defined function whenever you want. In order to use it, you have to first define it. But this is not same for the built-in function. You can use it anywhere or anytime you want. Now, in user-defined function, it is very customizable. Means you can customize it because you are the owner, so you can do whatever you want. But in built-in function, you cannot do it. You cannot modify it because you are not the owner of that function. Now, the last difference is the user-defined function may contain error because you are making the user-defined function. So it is very important to know very, very common that you may have done something wrong and for which it is providing some errors. But because built-in function come already in the Python, so it is very reliable and well tested. So it is very rare to have some errors. Now, last but not the least, that is the difference between return and print. So the return statement do not display the value. Instead, it sends the value back to the caller. But the print statement displays the output on the screen. Now the return statement, we can only use the return statement inside a function. But the print statement can be used anywhere, inside or outside a function. In return statement, when the return statement got encountered, it executes the function immediately. But in print statement, it does not affect the function flow. So thank you. That is it from my side. And now Arvin will do the next of the things. Now Arvin, please.
One minute, please. I'm sharing my screen. Welcome to the programming or coding section. As you can see, this is a menu driven Python program. It uses user defined functions to perform different tasks. The program repeatedly shows a menu and asks the user to choose an option from 1, 2, 3, and 4. According to the choice, the selected function is executed. So now, this is the first part of it. Count his or her. In this part, count his or her parenthesis s accepts a string as input. Lower function converts lower function converts the string into lowercase so that capital his and small his are treated as same. Count function occurrences counts the occurrences of the word. And finally, it was given or by the function print. Now second one, count case. In this function, I have taken two variables, upper and lower, which I have initialized with 0. Count case parenthesis s checks every value one by one using for loop. If the character is in uppercase, variable is increased by 1. If the character is in lowercase, lower variable increased by 1. At the end of the uppercase and lowercase letters are printed. Now the third one is prime series. First, I have printed the prime series as the name or topic or the interface which you get. Prime series n prints all the prime number from 2 to n. I have taken one input n from the user, which will give the end value of it. In for loop, I have one variable count which is initialized by 0. In second for loop, I have taken again a for loop using range from 1 to that number, the first number which is given from first loop. And if the count is double equals to 2 means the count comes 2, that it means have two factors only, then the number will be prime and it will print the number. Now as you can see, here are the choices, choice 1, choice 2. The menu driven logic is that while true creates an infinity loop, so that menu repeats again and again, and you get choices again and again. If else statement will compare the user choice, and choice 1 calls the function 1, choice 2 calls the function 2, and choice 3 calls the function 3. After that, if you want to break and end the program, you should choose 4, which is to break the or end the program. Now I am running it. It may take some time. So as you can see, here the menu comes. Count his and her, first option. Second option, count uppercase and lowercase. And third option, print prime series. Fourth option, exit. So, first of all, I will do the count his and her function. So as you can see, I have selected or typed 1 and entered it. Here comes to enter a string, which I would enter. As you can see, I have entered. Each student must submit his or her project by tomorrow. So I'm entering it. So as you can see, here the count his and her shows 1 1 because here the his occurrence is 1 and her occurrence is 1 in this string. Now I am proceeding with the second function, which is count uppercase and lowercase. Here also shows to enter a string, which I would enter the same, which I have entered in the function 1. As you can see, the uppercase letters are 2 and lowercase letters are 42 in the string which I have given. Now I am proceeding with the third one, which is prime series. In prime series, we have to enter the end value or the limit till where we have to get the number or series of prime number. Like for example, I am entering 15. As you can see, the limit is 15. The prime series are as follows: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, and 13. So, if I want to break the loop and get out of it, I must type 4 to exit the program. So, as you can see, it has printed program ended. So, this much for programming or coding part. Now, further, Raisa will continue.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So now I will be presenting my screen. Please wait a moment. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, visible.
So, okay, so my first question is, what happens if a function is called with fewer or extra arguments than required? If a function is called with fewer or extra arguments than required, Python gives a type error because the number of arguments passed does not match the number of parameters defined in the function. The next question is, explain scope of variables used inside and outside the function. A variable declared inside a function is called a local variable. It can only be used inside that function. A variable declared outside all function is called a global variable. It can only be accessed inside and outside the function both. And my last question is, explain advantages of modular programming using functions. So modular programming means dividing a large program into smaller parts called function. Function makes the program easier to understand, reuse, and manage. They help reduce code repetition, make debugging easier, and allow changes to be made in one part without affecting the whole program. Thus, functions make programs simple and more efficient. So that's it for today. Thank you.